Hey everybody, welcome to your guide on the Stigma Dreamscape. Now this is one of two dungeons that you will pick up via a quest in Old Charlian, and it's pretty noticeable. It's one of two blue quests there that are require level 90. So without further ado, let's get started and explain the boss fights. Now the first boss in this dungeon is Proto Omega, and the first thing to note about him is that he has guns all over his body. So whenever you happen to see them light up like this, that is the half of the platform that he will pretty much be demolishing. Now, it can occur either on sides, in front, or in rear, so that is something to pay really close attention to. So here's rear interceptors, so right behind him. And this chemical missile is just something we all need to be spread out for, indicated by the icons here. And then we will have a stack point. Now these two guided missiles that you see following people around on the platform, you pretty much just need to kite them. They move pretty slowly for the most part, and eventually they will just explode, leaving patches on the ground. So if you can condense them in the same area, that's probably for the better. And then we had another stack point there. Now here's the tank buster. It's fairly hard. I mean, minor cooldowns are probably necessary. I mean, it's about half your life, even with a 30%. And there's the other side of him lighting up, so that side's going to get blasted. Yeah, as if you're a tank doing positioning on this, it's probably for the best to try to just sort of keep him in the north-south facing. That way it's easier for people to be moving about, and, you know, dodging fire is necessity. So making sure that people can still gain their positionals is always a good idea. Now here we have missiles with a spread point, so I need to be careful because there's a healer next to me here, but I also had a missile next to me. Now I was able to pretty much stack my missile with my stack point there by just moving a little slow. Throw a raid cooldown for this person here. There we go. Now one thing to note is that slide that happens after the stack point where you get this little knockback effect. It can push you into the fire, it can push you into the edge of the ring. So just try to be a little cautious on where that's going to push you, or just use a knockdown immunity if you have it available to you. He's doing a rear interceptor here, which means he's going to blast in his rear. So he must have a really bad case of robot gas today. A side cannon blast. Two more guiding missiles with a spread point. So I will try to avoid people from hitting with this, and then try to kite my missile almost on top of it, letting it blow up there, saving a little bit more room in the platform. And that's Proto Omega. And we have arrived at the second boss. Now, this motorcycle man is a little bit tricky in later phases, and honestly even still jukes me a little bit. So one of the biggest things about this guy is that he will draw a path on the ground. Oh, here's a tank buster. He'll draw a path on the ground that he will follow. And at the end of zooming across the platform, if you didn't get hit by that, he then casts a line at his end point outward from the room. So that's something that's pretty hard to avoid. So here's that mechanic. Here's the first red line, second red line, third red line. And because the red line ended up in this area right here, he's going to stop right here and then cast a line outward into the room. It's something that a lot of people will still get hit by for a while. I mean, you may just get caught, you know, at the other end of the room, and you may have dodged all the lines, but then you get hit by his line attack, or his wide attack in the room there. But if you're a tank and you can figure this out, Oh, here's the lines. So with these lines, everyone is numbered 1 through 4, and whenever he hits that, it will hit your number. So whenever he runs through number 1, I had number 1, so it creates a beam from that to me, since I was 1. And as he drives through number 2, it will create a beam from the number 2 mark to the player that has number 2. So if you guys are like intersecting there, it's going to cause the lines to clip other people. And hopefully we should get to see that one more time before this fight's over with. So here's the lines again. See, now he's ending up on this side of the room here, which means he's going to clip that part of the room over there. And if you're a tank and you happen to see someone get caught out there, definitely your responsibility to hopefully be able to shield them or help them out a little bit, you know, make sure they survive. But other than that, he doesn't really have a lot of mechanics just because of a little bit more complexity with those ones that he does have. All right, so here's the lines again. So as I was saying, number 1 will go through number 1, number 2 will go through number 2, number 3. So watch as he goes through here. All the beams are going to go right past us. So as he triggers them, it will then cause the beam from that point to the player that has the same number. Not too hard to figure out. Just as long as everyone in the group kind of just sort of goes and stands beside their number, regardless of if you're on the left or the right side of the line, everyone should remain safe. All right, so his end point was over here. Oh, I got hit by that. But his end point was over here, which means I won't get clipped by the end of the room. But either way, whether you take a motorcycle line or if you take the cone, I do believe you take a vulnerability either way. So it's kind of a hit or miss on which one you can survive. And here we have the final boss of the dungeon, Stigma 4. Now, Stigma 4 actually has quite a few of abilities, and if you don't really know what you're looking for, some of them could potentially cause some damage. So once our friends here get done with their cutscene, as they are first-time players, we will commence the fight and sort of explain everything as it happens in real time. All right, so now there's an ad in the back of the room, which if you're a tank and you're behind that boss, it's pretty hard to see. Now, he mimics the same things as the first boss did, where he will light up half the room there, and then he will commence self-destruct. So you really want to just kill him before this cast bar ends. He'll also summon hybrid dragons. Now, these hybrid dragons do a cone, just like the bike guy did in the last fight. So he will sort of breathe out on that half of the room. Again, just want to kill these ads whenever they come up. So now he's casting AI Takeover, which is going to summon all these rocket fists here. Now, there will be 2 lanes that are always safe that you can sit in. So just keep an eye out. Usually one will be in a ranged space and the other one will be within melee. Now, this is one of his abilities. Whenever he looks like this staircase or DNA, you want to be away from the boss. So run away from that. Now, his other form is a circle, and you want to just be inside of the circle. But we'll get to see that a couple more times before the fight ends. So here's the circle ability. As you see, it has a lightning ring around it, indicating that sort of the outside of the circle is going to be a bad space. Now he casts an ability called Forward March. So he's going to make me cast March Forward. And he's doing a spiral, so I don't want to be marching towards that ability. So as long as I just keep running out here, I will be safe. Now, if it was a circle, I would want to march into him. But just pay attention to what direction he has you marching in, and then go to the according spot. If he's the DNA staircase shape, be away, and if he is the circle, then you want to run towards him. All right, he's doing another rocket punch here, which I'm going to go into this melee safe point here. And he also happened to summon a robot back here at the same time. Now, a lot of these mechanics happen pretty rapidly, so it's definitely something that you just want to sort of be paying attention to. It's probably easier if you're a ranged DPS than it is if you're a melee to notice that stuff is in the back, unless you just happen to have like your mob recount threat thing over here, whatever this is. This is a Stigma 4. Circle, move in. Oh, but it has me moving right. See, I almost messed this up. So I need to charge right into this circle. So, I mean, it even happens to me. It's definitely just other stuff, especially while trying to explain the fight, I guess. But there's just a lot of stuff going on that you just need to be able to pay attention to. Another rocket fist, which I want to be in the melee space. You also happen to summon a dragon, so as soon as we dealt with that, we now have to get over here and get behind him. He's self-destructing. We need to kill him. There we go. AI takeover. That means fists. Where are they? They're right there. Safe point. He also happened to summon a frame back here that I noticed, which is on my side, so I need to make sure I get back over here and get away from that side of the cleave. Kill him before self-destruct. He's mind hacking us, which means I'm going to march in a direction. This says left face. So let's see what the boss does. He's doing DNA, so I want to make sure that I'm walking away from him. So I can just stand back here, march left, stay away, and then we go back. Watch out for those fists. Another dragon will be spawning. Dodge this breath. You could probably kill the boss at this point, which he did. Okay. But, I mean, honestly, the most difficult thing as a tank is if you're used to just sort of standing behind the boss, he is definitely a big boss and in your face. So you may not notice the other mobs that are spawning around the room. And it's definitely all about watching that robot, seeing which side he's going to cleave, and then the dragon will always do that cone outward. And then probably the most difficult thing about the fight is waiting for him to do the march directions, whether that be forward, left, right, whatever, and noticing if he goes into a circle form, you want to make sure you are marching in that direction of him. And if he is the DNA or staircase, you just want to be away from him. So that's Stigma Dreamscape, guys. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.